This episode of the Patriots Postgame Show is presented by DraftKings.
This is the Patriots Postgame Show presented by DraftKings.
First down,
touchdown.
Dive to the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Handoff to Stevenson. Runs his left big hole across the 40. Cuts left at the 45. And steamrolls the defender there.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Mike Dussault.
All right, it's the Patriots post-game show presented by DraftKings. The Patriots losing a 1-point nail-biter, Paul? We call them nail-biter? Are preseason games ever nail-biters?
I go nail-biter, yeah. Why not?
Well, plenty to take away here from tonight, but I think the biggest piece of it is kind of what we talked about in the open, Paul, and what I was hoping for is didn't have to be an overall full game, great performance, but Drake Maye, I think, did enough today to show fans, to show, some of the people that have been kind of wondering what's been going on with Drake Maye, the talent that he has, the special athleticism that he has. And, like I said, it was reminding me a lot of what we've watched through camp. There were certainly moments that you'd like to have back, that you'd like to do over, but the good moments were there. And I think this performance, 25 snaps, might quell the masses a little bit.
So, do you remember in the pregame show, someone called in and said, besides Drake Maye, what is something that you're excited to see tonight? Who's someone you want to see tonight? And I said, I got nothing.
Yeah.
And the way the game unfolded is exactly what I was talking about. Like, I'm not going to lie. I was like, the fans, quote unquote, tonight. I know we're not supposed to be fans, but I wanted to see Drake Maye play some extended drives, and I wanted to see him flash some of the ability that I saw at North Carolina. And I think you summed it up perfectly to open. That's what we saw. And it wasn't perfect. There was some things that, there's fumbled snaps. We're going to get into the lists, are good, bad, and whatever.
Yep.
But I thought some of the plays that he made tonight, you got to see his athleticism. You got to see some good decisions. The best play he made all night ended up being an incomplete pass. There was some flashes there.
There was.
And I think that, you put it perfect. Like maybe that sort of quells the masses a little bit. And I would put myself squarely in the masses. I wanted to see some good stuff tonight. I'm not telling you it was great, but we saw some good stuff tonight.
Yeah, I was curious if they were going to let him throw into the end zone, and they let him run it in with the read option there, which, it's just a nice moment. And, nothing super special about the play, but, it almost reminded me, again, not to keep going back to 2020, but that opening game against the Dolphins where it was like all of a sudden like, hello, we have a quarterback who can run now. And it was just a little reminder of, some of the things, like you said, that Drake can do now. Some of the inconsistency that we've seen in camp was there too, and that was, a couple high throws, a couple moments where he was, didn't seem like he processed too quick and, had to bail on the pocket, but got some support as well from the defense, which, I liked. Situationally, it's hard to, trumpet, sacks or, fourth down stops, but I did like that stuff from the defense. And, unfortunately, it didn't go great in the second half. I felt like they kind of fell off a little bit. The mistakes, like you mentioned, started to pile up, but we're about Drake Maye here, so we're excited. We'll focus on him, but first, why don't we just jump right in to the good, the bad, and the injured.
Now it's time for the good.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
The bad.
Hey, what happened?
And the injured.
You all right, guy?
All right, the good, the bad, and the injured. These are the players that Deuce and Paul thought were good or bad and or injured.
And unfortunately, we do have one of those tonight.
We do, unfortunately. But let's start it off, Paul, right at the top. We already mentioned Drake Maye. Nice night for him. 25 snaps, led 2 scoring drives. Got some help. Big run by Kevin Harris there, aided one. Really nice third down throw, though, to Javon Baker, which you provide a little bit of insight. We're seeing it right here.
Talking to, first of all, we got a chance to talk to Drake Maye in the production meeting yesterday, and this is one of the things he talked about was this exact route. And Brian, Brian Hoyer, my colleague, so this is where it kind of helps to have, a quarterback who knows these concepts that they're running and understands what he's doing. I thought Brian did a really good job of breaking down that play. Drake Maye, when he talked to us, sort of lamented the fact that he took the underneath route too often in the joint practice session on Tuesday, and he felt like he bailed on opportunities that were there to hit the one that he hit tonight to Javon Baker. And I thought that was a really good sign to see him Have that happen on Tuesday. Watch it on film. On Wednesday, he's talking about it to us. And on Thursday night, he's correcting the mistake. You know how we talk about error repeater?
Yep.
Well, this is someone who's learning from it and doing it differently. And I just thought that was a really good sign. I know it's just one little third down pass and it moves the sticks, but I thought that was a really good sign to see him do that.
You're seeing
and
a bunch,
Brian really talked about it a lot.
Yeah, well, he's a quarterback. He better
Right.
know those things. You're seeing some of the highlights here, and
I like
watching
the little shake here
little
from
shake
your
and
boy
bake from
Jalen Polk.
from
Yeah.
Jalen Polk. Not a huge night from
No,
Polk, but
this was about it for him.
yeah, I don't want to get too in the weeds right now, but I just we just saw a couple plays from Baker who. Maybe we can cue up the deep pass too from May.
So you can see what we're talking about with Baker. Like
yeah.
he makes the catch on the in cut, and the up and down. Now the deep ball down the left sideline, he ran a terrible route and wound up out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
And oh, by the way, he should have caught it anyway. Now it wouldn't have counted, but he should have caught it.
Yeah.
Then he has a play where it looked like he was not on the same page as May, kind of broke a route off. I think May thought he was going to continue on the slant. Looked like Drake May, in fairness, looked a little indecisive on it as well.
Yeah.
So maybe it was a problem for both of them. And then you got to make the catch on the deep ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
you can't put it in the hands. That to me is the best player I saw tonight. The best play I saw tonight was the deep ball that he threw, deep post, the subtle little move to the left to buy a split second extra time. He was so calm in the pocket. All this talk about the footwork and this and that, I don't think you can do it any better than that, and the throw was perfect.
Yeah.
And I think Baker's got to catch it.
You mentioned the calmness, Paul, tonight from Drake May, and that's something that stood out
Look
a little
at this
bit
throw.
to me. Yeah, this is the throw right here, which I'm kind of surprised Baker missed that one. That's usually in college.
But this is a great look. Watch this. Boop, right there.
Right in the place. Subtle movement.
Dare I say, that's Brady-esque.
Yeah, just little
Eyes
subtle
never left where his target. His eyes were downfield. I'm sorry. That's as perfect
be
a
a
throw
catch.
as you can make.
And that's one that Baker. Those are the kind of catches he used to make, in college. So, a little bit disappointing. I know we got off the path a little bit there with Baker, but I think you're seeing a little bit of the ups and downs with him. I'm not ready to say boom or bust yet, but makes a play,
No, I
doesn't
think
make a
that's
play,
accurate.
makes
I
a
think
play,
he's a
doesn't
boomer
make a
bust
play.
guy, Mike.
But what I will say, Paul, about just that connection specifically to Drake May is how many times did the Patriots get a receiver in? And I don't mean this as criticism of Tom Brady. I just, he'd come in and Brady just wouldn't look to him. And, sometimes you just never get a sense of a developing connection between Tom Brady and a young receiver. And, for all the ups and downs that we've seen from Javon Baker so far, I just like that May is showing that he likes to go to him, that he's willing to put it up for him. He's done it in practice. He's doing it in the games. The results have been up and down, but I think that it's just a good sign that's, when we talk about in the pregame, getting him out there. And it's I look out there and I'm like, hey, there's Baker, there's Polk, there's Jaheim Bell. These are the things that we were talking about. So,
yeah. So
I like it.
I guess it's, and I never really thought of it that way until you just brought it up. And when you're saying it, it might be, I know we all talk about, well, they need to get more weapons around, Drake May specifically, but the Patriots need more weapons to weaponize the offense. And I agree. I mean, they definitely do not have enough playmakers, but I guess the silver lining of that is what you're talking about is he's got to throw the ball to those guys.
Yeah.
Because, Tom, sort of toward the end that became a thing, but he threw it to Gronk, and he threw it to Edelman, and he threw it to Amendola. And maybe he didn't throw it to some other guys and never really gave them a chance to develop because he had great players that he had a relationship with and he knew it worked.
Why am I going to go to guys I don't trust when I got guys
Jacoby
that do?
Brissett and Drake May don't have that.
Yeah.
They're throwing it to whoever they think is the guy because they don't have a guy who is proven to be, worthy of getting 2/3 of the targets in a given game. So it's got to be Polk and Baker and Rager and Thornton and Demario Douglas. They don't have an option.
Yeah. Yep.
So I guess that I would rather have the studs, but I guess the silver lining of that is it forces you to sort of let everybody have a chance.
And maybe somebody, will
And
emerge.
figure out,
figure
out who emerges.
You love to find some consistency there with Javon Baker, but let's get in. I'm sure Freddie's going to come in and he's going to want to chat some Drake as well. So you got another positive there, Paul? Another up?
No, I mean absolutely. Drake May would be at the top of my list tonight.
Yeah, me too.
I thought if you want to move on,
sure.
I thought just the different things they did to get pressure and I at the very end of the broadcast, I sort of brought it up to Devin and Jason just to get their, as defensive guys, just the idea of losing Barmore, losing Judon, two guys that can win one-on-one matchups, something that you brought up in the pregame show. And can you just get by scheming it up? They blitzed a ton.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the number in the first game. They said 50-something%.
Yeah, it's high.
I think that's an absurd amount of blitzing in a preseason game.
Wink Martindale-esque.
They did it again tonight.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, can you get by consistently without guys that are just going to be, you could just pin your ears back and get there?
Yep.
Can you get by consistently? And Devin and Jason kind of talked about how successful they are doing it, but not really answering the question. So I thought that stuff tonight was really good with, Josh Bledsoe, I thought was blitzing a lot. And you saw different numbers in the backfield. Again, you saw Farms kind of flash a little bit. So I thought,
Keon White had a nice ruch, too.
Josh Uche, I thought, was
hard on
active
him
tonight, too. Yeah, Keon White was bullying guys back. But again, he doesn't just beat the guy. He collapses the pocket, which is good. But I don't know how many guys they have. They're just going to win.
Yeah. Boss man Fred Kirsch joining us.
Fred,
what's up? We did a good riff on Drake May here to start, but I knew you'd probably want to come in and
Mike
offer
and I
your
already
thoughts
had our
on
cigarettes. Well, we already smoked our cigarettes about Drake May.
I just want to start off by saying how Philly doesn't play fair.
Oh, why? What
did they do?
We're winning the game, and they put McKee back in. They just weren't going to, give us the satisfaction of the win. So they put McKee in.
Put their fourth-string quarterback in.
They went from 5 to
he was throwing the ball pretty
well.
well.
He threw it really well.
I know.
And they took him out, and Greer comes in. And
I love that line. But he threw about 5 or 6 dimes outside the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Zoe was gushing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Philly just wasn't going to give us the satisfaction.
No.
They put him back in.
Well, the good news is we don't have to talk to a player. So.
Paul avoids that one. So Paul just put some of the defense. I would just real quick comment on the defense.
No one really specific. Just I liked all the pressure.
No,
they
I
got
agree,
in the first half.
and I would just to piggyback a little bit on that. It felt like it died down a little bit in the second half, and that's when Philadelphia started to move the ball. It felt like there were gaps inside that guys were kind of making lateral cuts and getting through, and and that's when Philly started to have some success, and the momentum turned a little bit towards that to them, and ultimately why they won the game.
Yeah, I agree.
But throw another one. I can't believe I'm going this early to this for an up, but I'm going to say special teams. I thought, a couple good returns, nice field goals from Joey Sly. I mean, I didn't really catch any. Did I miss any mistakes on special teams, Paul?
Wallace with the muff.
Wallace with the muff at the end. He recovered it though.
They gave up a big return too on one of the kicks. Yeah. But you give and take.
I know, and it's hard tonight to pick.
Now somebody said that when the Patriots had that chance at the end. It was Philly ball, but it looked like the Patriots are going to get it back, and they might have a chance for a winning field goal. Somebody said Ryland was warming up.
Oh, really?
I didn't see it.
Well, Ryland kicked the extra point after the touchdown.
No, this is late in the game.
No, I know, but so what's the?
Well, I mean, Sly had kicked the other two field goals.
They were going to give Ryland the chance at the game winner if they could get it.
Yeah, if that's true.
I think they were alternating, is my point. Sly kicked the field goal. Ryland kicked an extra point, then Sly kicked a field goal.
Okay.
I think it was Ryland's turn.
Oh, okay.
I think.
No, that could be.
That
could be, yeah.
Hard to keep track of all that stuff. But you just saw David Wallace's return, who I don't know if I put him on the up list necessarily with a couple good plays. He had a nice catch earlier that was kind of thrown behind him by Joe Milton.
He's had two games, and he made a play in both of them.
So you got to do if you're that guy, right?
He's fast.
You got to try to do. Is he? Yeah. I don't know. He kind of got run down pretty easily.
What do you got, Fred? You got anything you want to throw on?
Well, what are we doing?
I had the good list.
We're doing ups.
We're doing the good list. The good list. We talked about May.
Defense disruption.
Yeah, and I would maybe specifically Raekwon McMillan.
Yeah.
This is a guy who kind of
active, kind of ran the defense
threw
tonight.
some physicality around.
I like that. I like that.
Stevenson ran well.
Just
no big runs.
Not a lot of holes. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard for me to judge. I mean, Hasty had the nicest run, but that was like wide open, like they blew that screen.
On the screen. That was great. That's not the play I liked May on.
Yeah.
And I know it's, I'll get off May.
We'll be back on May in a minute after we.
I mean, Booty,
a few catches. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know why it's so hard tonight to really single
move
guys
the ball
out.
all night.
Yeah, that's true. I know. It was just kind of May's little splash plays here and there, but
I thought just the pressure in general. I put Joey Sly on the good list.
Sure,
51-yarder. Sure. I got 50.
Behringer's punt was.
That's a good
first
one.
punt
That
was
first
unbelievable.
punt was
The next
crazy.
punt he had like 8 yards deep in the end zone. But that first punt, man,
Yeah.
that was perfect.
He stuck that like on the green.
Like one of my wedges,
Little
Freddie.
backspin. Yeah.
The only other one I just jotted down was I liked the tackle from I guess it was technically a sack from Isaiah Bolden on that third down where we came up and made the play.
Yeah.
Del Pettis made a great play in the goal line. I know
Yeah.
the next play they scored,
Yeah,
but that's a great
It was a
play.
touchdown-saving tackle.
Yeah.
Gonzo gave up a first down,
He also got beat deep.
but
He's
then
on
he
my
had a
bad
nice
list.
run
Yeah.
penetration where he was in on a run stop. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, I didn't like the coverage from him again. Now, the slant that he got beat on, he had decent coverage in
it's
that.
hot. They kind of snuck it in there.
The deep ball, the guy was so far behind him that the guys were kind of wondering if there was a miscommunication, that maybe he thought it was zone or something.
Yeah.
But he was that guy was well, I think it was John Ross, was well behind him.
Yeah. I felt a little split, though. I mean, I think there was maybe I missed one late, but I mean, what was it, a false start on Vidarian Lowe? One penalty.
There was only one pre-snap penalty, but
Yeah.
man, the
But
fumbled snap. We going
3
right to the
fumble
bads?
snaps.
We going
I
right
don't
to the
know.
bads?
I'm kind of walking
Yeah,
the line
the
right
fumbled
now.
snaps. I think it happened to
Yeah, it's
the
David.
last. It happened to May, Milton,
it's,
and Brissett.
It's David
Zappi.
Andrews or bust on this team.
Yeah, you saw them
At
move
center.
Liam Fornadell in there as the third string guy now. A lot of, for Nick Lever, a lot of action for him. Once May got in there, really they kept the top line. I think that at one point they just put Layden Robinson in and Levered in for Andrews at right guard. So they Calvin Anderson seemed like the odd man out. Sorry, I'm not trying to get off topic here, but he didn't really play till the very end, and they had Vidarian Lowe out there for a huge chunk of the game.
I'll tell you if we have officially transitioned
All right, let's
to
transition.
the bad list.
Yeah.
Top of my list is Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
I think he had an opportunity to make a play on the first third down. He had,
Hooper.
I think, more time than he thought. He floated a pass out to the side and didn't give Hooper a chance to make the catch. I think this play is there. I mean, it's not an easy throw. He's not wide open. You got to fit it in a window, and he didn't. And then obviously the pick in the end zone is terrible.
An excuse, and that's not what he's known for. He's known for not doing that.
Especially where it came where he had a pretty good pocket and he had time. Like it's that was that's been the
now
bugaboo
nobody
for
was
them.
open, and I'm not trying to say I wanted to kind of get in on the broadcast there. I was like, we saw a lot of this on Tuesday. Everybody focused on pass protection. So many sacks, right? Well, this was a problem on Tuesday as well. Their guys were covered, and when they went back and they did the telestrator and they had 5 guys and they showed how close the defensive back was on all of them. I don't know where Brissett's supposed to throw it, but you can't throw a pick.
No.
And like Mike said, he had plenty of time. He could have airmailed it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could be seeing the transition.
Well,
today
the
is the
change
day.
of momentum toward Drake May.
If only there was a chance that the coaches thought there was a chance.
I know. Well, I mean, that's a great
yes,
question.
I'm frustrated.
But it's
tell me why.
Because
Can you what?
Can I?
I'm trying not to
be nice.
I'm trying not to be disrespectful.
Yeah, you don't have to be.
I love Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
I've seen him play for 8+ years.
Right.
I know what he is.
Right.
I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd rather sit through the fits and starts of Drake
I'd rather
May
sit
and
into
the
the
ups
trials
and
and
downs.
tribulations and live with the rookie mistakes.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you think this is all about the offensive line?
No, I think that's part of it, though.
Because if it's not about the offensive line, then I don't know what they're doing. Then he should be out there.
No, I think they feel like he's not ready, and they're probably right. I'm not trying to tell you I know more than the coaches. I'm telling you, I'm probably agreeing with you that he's not ready.
So what? So what?
Thank you, Fred.
So what?
Thank you, Fred.
Put him out there.
Right.
Put him out there. Get him ready.
And that's what
Get
the
him
drum,
ready on
that's
the
what-
fly.
That's
Right.
what the drum beat's going to be.
Yeah.
And if Jacoby, I mean, are we going to see Jacoby Brissett in the third preseason game? I don't know. I'd probably say no. I don't think they're going to put him back out there unless they really think that he needs to go out there to show that he.
Yeah, the guys seem to think that they'll get the whole first half of May next week, and then the other two will finish.
Yeah.
We'll get no Brissett. Again, I'm really trying. I don't mean this to sound disrespectful.
But they didn't bring in Jacoby Brissett to be an answer.
No.
So let's accelerate the process. Let's get Drake May. I was even hoping that for the 2-minute drill that they put May back out there. I think it was actually 4 minutes that they had left at the first
At
drive. At the first time they got the ball back and they were behind. I think there were like 4 minutes left.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Milton got sacked a couple. In retrospect, I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, they like 30 seconds. No, but I said put May in. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah.
Put him back in.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I get your point.
They
totally.
did it. They did it with McKee, and he did fine.
McKee came back in. McKee only came out for a series.
But they put him back in.
But not for the 2-minute drill. He came back in before that.
No, I know. But the point is they took him out and they put him back in.
I was glad to just escape with Drake May, like in one piece.
I'm not going to get yelled at anymore.
He did get hit hard, but
that last one, I kind of liked it though. I was like, "Hey, welcome to the NFL."
I was right with you. I said, "You know what? Fine."
Yeah.
I was like, "Get up, get up, get up." Oh, that's good. You got a hit. You got hit.
Good clean hit. Right. You know, between the butt and the shoulders.
So
fine.
that's, I think we need to talk about the tackles too. I thought Lowe was he struggled tonight.
Paul just lost his.
Mike just.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah,
You're back.
He had the false start, and then he had the play that May got blindsided. Was again, I defer to the football guys on the broadcast, and they all sort of indicated that Vidarian Lowe needs to know that Kevin Harris chip is coming.
Yeah.
So he needs to set up inside. He looked like he was in really good position on that, and then Harris's block knocked the guy free.
Right.
Can we get that one, guys? If you got it, the Drake May sack.
Brian, the way Brian Hoyer explained it to me is like, that's something like that's communicated. You know that's coming, so you have to sort of alter your set. And he looked like he didn't. So that's a mistake. And Chuk struggled again early in the game, especially gave up a pressure on I think the first third down or maybe one of the early third downs, and then one of those zone runs that went nowhere. He was kind of late. That the guys pointed out on the broadcast, he was late getting out there for his block. So I think there's still room for Caden Wallace to sort of step in and figure it out. Layden Robinson, I started talking about the two rookie offensive linemen, and old friend Andy Hart goes, wow, leaning on a little thick on those offensive linemen. No.
Well, what do you read into, though, Vidarian Lowe playing as long as he did? I mean, I just found that interesting that he was out there and they were looking a little bit at Wallace at right and looking at Robinson on the right side. But Vidarian Lowe, like, is it that they just think he needs reps or is it like they're just trying to pound it out of him?
I wonder if they don't feel comfortable with anybody else. Like, we had a thing in the pregame show, Fred. I don't know if you were listening to us. Someone was like, this is ridiculous, Vidarian Lowe. And I was like, well, who's a better left tackle on the roster? And I don't have the answer. I'm not telling you he's the best. I'm telling you that based on Mike and I's experience watching these practices, he's the left tackle the last, 7, 8, 9 days.
Yeah.
They clearly think he's the best left tackle option.
So here's the question. Do you think that they handled game 2 of this preseason like a typical game 3 back in the past? Or might we see more starters in this last preseason game?
I don't think we'll see more starters.
You don't think so?
But I also don't know that they quote unquote have guys that you think are starters. Like
on defense, the starters. You know who those starters are, but on offense, you protect Hunter Henry if he were to come back.
Like,
but
to me,
Vidarian
like
Lowe's
you're
gonna
talking
play.
Defense. You're talking like Peppers, Duggar.
Yeah, John Jones. If he was
Jonathan
healthy.
Jones.
Yeah, Godshaw.
With Gonzalez.
Bentley.
Like most of those guys played tonight. Now Jonathan Jones didn't. And
right.
Bentley,
in Peppers, I don't think.
Duggar.
I didn't see Peppers.
I didn't see Peppers.
No Duggar, no Peppers.
Yeah, those guys are the clear starters back there. But offensively, like if it was the first play and it was KJ Osborne and Tyquan Thornton, I wouldn't bat an eye, and then it could be Demario Douglas on the next play in whoever else.
Right.
Jalen Reagor.
I'm thinking more offensive line.
Yeah.
I don't think they have
I think
starters.
they got to play everybody. I know.
I mean, David Andrews and
Protect
Michael
David
Wenyu
Andrews.
will definitely be the starters.
Yeah.
And they started tonight.
Right.
All right, well, let's wrap up the
But I wonder
downs
how
here.
they'll treat the third game,
I wonder, too.
Yeah, I wonder if you'll see. I mean,
Gotta
you probably
protect
see
Vidarian Lowe.
everybody, but maybe not David Andrews.
To protect your only left tackle, maybe, but I don't. What else you guys got just for downs? Anything?
10 guys on a
specific?
punt.
10
had
guys.
to call timeout. Like, I'm sorry, these things are really sticking out to me.
Yep.
Oh, I have
Finger
a
wagging?
down.
Finger wagging?
I think the McCourties were good, as they always are. I don't know which one said it. I think it might have been Devin, but he said, last year the Patriots got by with, defense making plays and special teams making plays. Special teams. I
Oh,
would not
no,
put
no.
them in that group.
No, he's
That's not how they got by last year.
Special teams were
No.
not good.
Yeah.
this year.
no.
Yeah, you didn't hear him say that?
Probably went in one ear or
Yeah.
out the other.
That's
There's a lot of that happens during that. You know me well enough after 20 plus years. You know, there's probably a lot of things in the broadcast that I look at Brian and I go, I don't buy that.
But I would have pushed back on him.
Well, my mic's not always open. You know that, right?
No, I know, but McCourty I think he was resting on the history of
Sure.
the Patriots. Oh, it was
It's easy
solid
to do.
special
I
team.
mean, why
it
shouldn't-
wasn't last year.
I mean,
Yeah.
and the year before.
but I can at least accept that these guys were part of that storied history. It's the people that are covering the
Keep
team
telling
that
yourself that.
I don't get.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I mean, the bad snaps. That's a thing.
Yeah.
I think
3
Nick
fumbled
Leverett
snaps.
had
Yeah.
2 on Leverett, or 1 on Leverett and 2 on Fornadell. Of course, the one at the end that basically ended the game.
Although-
essentially ended the game.
One
The
of them-
Milton one I thought was on Milton.
Yeah.
Well, even one of them with May, I thought maybe he took his eye off it a little bit. But, I mean, Leverett's putting up knuckleballs. There's no spiral on his snap whatsoever.
Oh, on the shotguns?
Yeah.
But I thought I thought his shotgun snaps were pretty accurate though.
They were in the area, but they're knuckleballs. I'm telling you.
Okay, I
You know,
believe you.
Give me, you need to have that spiral to
I-
cut through the atmosphere.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I think that's an issue.
yeah.
I think just for me on the down list was just kind of the second half run defense. I think you're right, Paul. They pulled back on the blitzing a little bit, but it just seemed like they kind of those backup guys, which usually you wouldn't put too much weight into, but looked like a guy like Mike Purcell who was out there, Tristan Hill, Armin Watts who was.
I thought Purcell did a great job on the 4th down stop.
Yeah, and I do think we probably didn't credit them. I mean, I think 3 4th down stops, especially with the push that they do. It's worthy of note, and I think that was definitely part of the game that helped the Patriots maintain the ball, especially when they weren't really able to move it.
Right.
At all.
It was like the Eagles would
like a
move like
turnover.
30 yards and then have a 4th and an inch
and they
and
couldn't
fumble
get
a
it.
snap.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, but that's about it for. I don't know. I also thought. I mean, I want to mention him just because we talked about him on the pregame show. Was Dial? I felt like Dial kind of got picked on a little bit. Gave up some catches.
He came as advertised because I do think he gave up catches, but man, he competes.
Yeah.
Like there was one play that I don't know what else he could have done, but like
He's in there.
God bless Devin though. Devin goes, yeah, you got to make the play. I don't care that you're in position. You got to make the play.
I zoned out a little bit. Did you talk about the throw from May to Baker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We looked
Yeah.
at
That
it
was
a little
before
bit.
before you got down. We talked
Yeah.
a lot about me.
I mean,
That was
Baker's
the best,
got. He's
that was
got.
the best play of the night.
Yeah, he's got to make that catch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
I love the movement in the
Yeah.
pocket on that play too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else for downs here tonight? Kind of tough. I didn't think Milton was. I think Milton. I'm not going to say he fell back to earth because I'm not sure.
No, he didn't look good. I
but
mean,
he didn't
even
look
on the
good.
plays where he had time, he threw it behind Jennings.
Yep.
Jennings had no shot at
He
that.
definitely turned the wrong way on a
Yep.
play action.
Yeah.
Yep. And then just in terms of the injured, unfortunately, it looked like Jaquay Jackson suffered maybe an
What did you
Achilles
guys-
injury.
Mike thought maybe Achilles.
Just
They were
based on how he
saying
grabbed the
knee,
back of
but
his
I don't
leg.
know.
Knee,
I
he
don't
blew
know.
out his knee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tough for him.
Yeah, I just know like we never really got a chance to look at it.
They just announced leg.
in the truck.
Yeah.
They were telling us we're not going to show the injury again. It was
All right.
gruesome.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tough break.
I didn't really get a good look at it.
Both players went down, but I had no idea what happened.
I don't know how the guy didn't intercept the pass. It looked like he had it right in his hands.
Right. Yeah.
The Patriots postgame show is sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll learn more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Postgame show brought to you by DraftKings, of course, Paul.
Fred, did you see that?
What's
did
that?
Did you hear like how he did that?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I'm pretty good.
Pretty good.
Got my radio voice on.
Try to
folks.
just try to do it like that.
Oh, I should try to do it like that.
I don't have Fred's transitions. Though.
You know what
Fred's
else?
always
You know
got
what
those-
else Deuce doesn't do?
What?
Doesn't drop calls.
Yeah, not one. Yeah,
Yeah, I heard about
I
that.
got it perfect. I'm
Somebody
perfect.
said they miss Hardy, but not the drop
And
calls.
he reads the electronic mail a little
I
bit.
try.
too.
I try. Hopefully, our new host is able to do that too.
Big shoes over there. No shoe, no socks.
Well, speaking of
No socks, big shoes.
should we bring him in?
Why don't you
I don't
come
know if he's
in?
ready.
To kind of preview next week a little bit?
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt had a whole thing planned. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
did
look
I
at
screw
Matt.
you
Look
up?
at Matt, the other Matt.
I didn't get
shaking
any
his head.
program notes.
No.
No,
I was told there'd be no math.
yeah.
No Socks is joining Unfiltered on Thursday.
Oh. Well, not everyone that listens to this show listens to Unfiltered.
Yeah, it's too late. It's
Yeah.
10:30.
No one's listening now. Anyway, the phone lines are stacked.
But Matt Smith joins us. Hi, Matt.
Fred.
producer of the broadcast. How'd it go tonight?
Senior executive producer of the Craft Sports and Entertainment.
I think we had a good show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was better than last week. Paul, I always want to defer to Paul because Paul is part of it.
I think it's more of an off-air conversation.
Here's what Paul's going to say. Wasn't enough him.
Too much
so
Hoyer.
those of you who hate me, this is the guy who's responsible for you having to put up with me.
No, I mean, listen, there's one story tonight, and I would hope that the viewers thought that we hammered that story home. In the second and third quarter, it was the Drake May show, and I haven't been to practice like you guys have for every single time and watching it with the detail that you guys watch all the time. I saw hope tonight.
Yeah.
That was by far and away the best he's done.
I saw hope, and I agree with Fred when he said the pass to Baker. Like, I assume that's why they picked the kid.
Yeah. I got a couple glimpses of Hoyer drawing plays up. I mean, I kind of get FOMO because I want to hear what he's having to say, but we're up in the press box, so what are you gonna do? Let's just jump over to the phones real quick. Grab Jeff in Maine. Hey Jeff, thanks for calling in.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good. What's up?
I'm back with some much simpler things than my pre-game show questions. Few observations. I know that this game, a lot of it was not exactly flawless football, but I think with a bunch of rookies, it's just there's so much more intrigue to it that it really just grabs my attention the whole time, and even in a preseason game like this.
God bless
I think Joey Sly should make the team based solely off of vibes. He's jacked. He's massive.
He is jacked.
Tatted up.
He's Andy Hart's kind of guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul, I heard the David Wallace slander earlier in the show. I also was like,
didn't.
Man, I don't think he's very fast. I looked it up. Turns out, other than Taekwon, he ran the second fastest 40 of any receiver on our team.
Paul thinks he's pocket change.
He's not even. Yeah, I mean, they ran him down like nothing. I think Marcus Jones is in the end zone on that play like a blink. Maybe he's not. Maybe his 40 time isn't faster than David Wallace's, but Marcus Jones is in the end zone on that play.
And then also...
Well, who ran him down? Maybe that guy runs a 4-2.
Jalen Reagor in the end zone on that play. Well, there's no doubt in my mind.
Come on.
So Reagor ran a 4.45, I believe. Wallace went 4.40. But Reagor clearly runs better with pads on. I was just intrigued that he was as fast as he was.
I don't think he looks all that fast at practice.
Really?
I don't.
Well, I don't know about practice, but
I don't think he's football fast.
I thought he looked pretty fast tonight.
I thought there was nobody there.
Thanks, Jeff.
And they just ran him down like nothing.
Yeah.
Correct.
I thought he kind of looked quick.
Like we saw, we had an end zone replay of that. A guy fell down. I mean, I think he was kind of blocked down.
Yeah.
But he fell down over here, and there was two guys blocked here. There was nobody there, and he ran 40 yards unimpeded. And then the first guy that was there ran him out of bounds.
Well, we'll check the next gen tomorrow. See if he hit 20 miles an hour. We'll know.
Yeah,
we'll know exactly what he hit. But I don't know what we're getting.
I think people just love that kind of player. If you know what I'm saying, Mike.
Always. If Brady was still here, he'd be like, he'd be the UDFA that everybody wanted. Let's keep sticking with the phones here. We'll go back to Tommy calling in from Omaha, Nebraska. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, guys. How's it going tonight?
Hey,
Good.
Tommy.
Good. You're awake.
Hey, I want to go back and give Paul his flowers. I wasn't in agreement with him initially on playing Drake May for the season to start, but after watching Jacoby tonight, there's just nothing there. And to me, if you're going to draft a quarterback with the capital they did in the first round, you got to use him. You got to let him get his licks and improve.
I like it, Tommy Omaha.
Thanks, Tommy.
Yeah, I'm with. Obviously, I'm with Tommy.
No, the drum beat's just going to get louder now, especially if Brissett doesn't really play next week and May plays better. Puts a few more plays together.
It switched tonight. I don't think there was a lot of thought about it happening.
No.
Prior to, based on what the performance was.
I don't think it has any chance of happening, but I still wish that it did. That's my problem. Is I've given up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That this is the plan. They're sticking to it no matter what.
This is what it says in the manual right here.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing.
I don't get why they would have that mindset. Like why is their mind closed to it? If it's true. Like we don't know. I mean, for all we know, as I predicted, May will be the first week starter. But if Paul's right, why the closed-mindedness to it? Like,
I know, and I mean,
unless there's stuff that we don't know, like he's just not getting it in film study. He's not getting it in the classroom.
Right.
You know, I don't know.
Or
That's
maybe
a prediction on tape. You're on the record with that?
My prediction is he would start week 1.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's
not going to
that
happen.
He's limited mentally. You know,
That's the kind of definitive take we're looking for.
Do you say that with knowledge or
With
just
no
your
knowl-
opinion?
No, strong opinion.
Okay.
No knowledge.
All right.
Strong to quite strong.
Listen. Let's just say next week May
lights
goes
it up?
out and does really well.
Okay, here's where I'm going to be a hypocrite. That you'll probably call me a hypocrite.
Love it.
Let's not take what we see in these games as
No,
having,
I know, but
having much value.
what else do we need to have to go on at this point? They
Practice.
don't give him first reps with the first team in practice with the first line.
No, but I'm just saying, like, practice is more indicative of what they're going to see in a game.
I know, but so this week there's a lot of practice. They're practicing Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think they're off
Wednesday.
Tuesday.
They're off
Just
Tuesday.
like every other day. They practice 3 days, then they're off.
No, I know, and then they've got Thursday. The game is not until
Sunday
this week, so there's going to be a lot of opportunity to practice before this next game.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's a whole week.
It's okay, like, if you disagree with me. Like, I don't think it matters.
Should it?
No.
It shouldn't.
Preseason games? No.
No, I'm talking about how he doesn't practice as well.
Oh,
this
practice,
week.
yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's a whole week before next game. Let's say he does really well this week, follows it
You're
into
just
the.
going to cling on to this like there's a chance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
That's, you know what? That's Paul-like stubbornness. I can appreciate it. I love it.
Well,
I love it.
I like it's take committed.
Correct.
Take committed.
Paul stubbornness.
At some
Love
point, we hope it's going to click with him. What if it clicks this week? To the point where he's just better than Jacoby at this point. You know?
I mean, I think
he's as ready as Jacoby at this point.
I wonder if it's a volume issue where, physically, Jacoby is limited, but where they're starting from with him is more, they just have a lot more plays to go with. Where May, they're like, man, we've only got, and I'm just speculating, but, if they realize that Jacoby can't execute maybe like May eventually will be able to, but they just don't have the volume to throw at May to be able to be competitive.
And
Where we got 7 plays, we feel like we could run with him right
We talk a
now.
lot about, like, we haven't seen May with the starters. And, like, we also haven't seen May against starters.
Yeah.
And not only you don't see them
Or
against
a
starters.
game plan.
Yeah, exactly. Not only you don't see them against frontline players against Philadelphia, you see them against frontline players, backup players who were not doing anything. They didn't really come after him all that much.
Yeah.
Not like the Patriots did. The Patriots were very aggressive defensively with their pass rush, I thought, in the first half.
Poor Kenny Pickett was about to die out there.
I mean, he was running for his life at times.
It was like
And,
3-4
playing
guys
with-
meeting him.
Playing with backup offensive linemen, and they were powerless.
Speaking of defensive front, is Dietrich Wise having a sneaky, really good camp?
I would say
He's had 2
efficient.
really good appearances in preseason games.
Correct.
I do not think he's
Yeah.
been sneaky.
No,
Some people have him on a surprise cut list.
I-
Do
There's no way.
that's a
There's no
mistake.
way. That's
you
ridiculous.
understand what
yeah.
surprise means?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have this conversation every year.
I know.
I agree. I can see
Well,
why they
then
would
Drake
put him
May
there.
would be a surprise cut too, and that
That's just stupid.
Okay, well, I think Wise is stupid. to
You
say-
think there's no chance that
I don't think
that
Wise is
Dietrich
stupid.
Wise could get cut?
I don't think he will, but
veteran player going to the last year of his deal. You think there's no chance?
Nope. Not now.
Yeah.
Why?
Little chance.
Yeah.
Why not now?
And he's
Because-
going to be a rotational
I mean-
player on the defensive
Yeah.
line.
Let's
He
just
will.
mail it in if he's not going to play.
What do you think of Keon White?
I think he's playing pretty well.
I think he might make Dietrich
But-
Wise expendable.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
They need more bodies,
I-
especially with the loss of Judon, especially
But
with
they don't play
Barmore.
the
By
same
the way,
spot.
I know they
you
don't,
see
but they
Uche, they put him out on an early down, and he is just helpless against the run.
Oh yeah,
He
that's him.
just can't play the run.
So did you guys, Matt and I were having a little text exchange during the game. Did you guys think he played a lot in the second half?
Uche? Yeah, more than I thought.
Did he
So do you
fight?
think that was? Do you
Do
think
you
that
think it was
fight
punishment for the fight?
I mean, he's a fighter.
See, I don't think he's really practiced.
Yeah.
This
No,
is a
he
Matt.
hasn't.
This is a Matt theory.
That's
Yeah.
Matt. That's why you're the new host of
See,
the
I give you
show.
credit.
Well,
I give you credit for things.
So, if the coach is to be
He clears his throat.
Suck up to the
He
boss.
clears his
a
throat.
little,
Yeah.
little frog going.
Yeah, okay.
If the coach is to be believed, if you fight, you're going to play. Did he play more than
Yeah.
you thought because of
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
But I think
So,
Paul's true though.
I don't think
he
he's
didn't play a lot.
practiced. This is what Matt and I were talking about during the show.
On the text
during
machine.
the game on the text machine. I don't think he's really not taken much part in any of the practices. a lot of rehab work. I don't know what his deal is. I don't know what's wrong, but I just wonder if they felt like, well, he's going to play a lot because he hasn't played. We need to get him up. We need to have him catch up.
Yeah.
But the fight thing is definitely plausible.
Yeah.
He was involved in that. After the kickoff, he was one of the guys that was involved in that skirmish.
We didn't see Zimenez till late either.
Yeah,
which
he
I
didn't
thought
play
kinda
much.
I thought that was interesting.
I think they're holding him back. Secret weapon.
You know he's not a young guy, right?
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
he's like a fifth-year guy.
he's not on anyone's radar.
I'm not sure I saw him into the fourth quarter.
He might have played one series, I think.
I was surprised.
Yeah, I was too.
Especially after Judon, and he's been like Uche.
Maybe he's a lock.
So I think they see him like Uche too, where that's going to be his job.
I'm going to be nice. He might be on this team.
Let's check in with Ray. Ray called in the pregame and now checking in with us
Hey, Ray.
postgame. Hey, Ray.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
All right.
Good.
Man, y'all was giving some great points today. I was all ears, and I don't mean to be scatterbrained, but I'll be short. It was a great work today.
Great.
Although we lost, I seen the best parts and stuff, and I give credit to Drake May. He's waking up. People can say what they want. He's waking up. That was a good performance from him.
Should Drake May start week 1?
Yes.
Say it again.
Should Drake May start week 1 of the regular season?
I believe so.
I like it.
Brissett,
I'm with you, Ray.
Brissett is going to sleep, and man, if we gonna go all out, if we gonna crash out, why not go out with a bang? To show Drake May and Milton what they got, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Now, it wasn't their fault tonight. They did well. Drake May and Joe Milton did well today. The O-line, they failed them.
Joe didn't do well. I disagree with you there, Ray.
But the O-line failed.
No, it was terrible.
Things that he could have cleaned up.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I think there was some plays where
He
Joe
was
had
late,
no shot.
inaccurate, and
Yeah.
went the wrong way on at least one play.
Yeah, Joe didn't have a good night, but Drake May did.
Yeah.
Drake May was the takeaway from this game.
Right. So I don't know which. I heard Fred say this earlier. I don't know whether it was Devin who said it or Jason who said it. And we were talking last night at a meeting. The one thing that I hadn't seen with Drake at all during practice, again, not being out there all the time, I never saw that kind of swagger that rookie top 3 quarterback has. That he's gonna take the team.
You don't see the swagger.
Hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
I saw a little bit tonight.
Oh, okay. So
I saw a little. And not just the casual flip of the ball in the end zone. That's what everybody's going to point to. He looked like he had a command in the huddle. He looked like there was a play where he was calling out protections and things like that, making sure they're in the right spot. I hadn't seen a lot of that in practice. Maybe that's because I hadn't been out there that much. Tonight I saw glimpses of swagger. McCourty's mentioned it. That to me was one of the most positive signs of the night.
It's easy to drink. It's easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots. Looking forward to one of those late night. Little email here coming in. Little compliment for our TV guys.
It's turning.
You need to.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Do it like that.
Oh.
I have to say it was an entertaining game tonight, but once again, I really enjoyed the broadcast itself most of all. I just wanted to thank everyone that was involved. Once again, Paul, I always really enjoy seeing you on air. Great job.
I appreciate it. Believe me.
That was That was a really nice.
I don't always get those kinds of. I also get ones that
Love Will.
kind of wonder what exactly I am that I'm doing on the broadcast.
We got Eldred chiming in from North Carolina. He's got an idea at left tackle. Hey, Eldred.
Hey, fellas. How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Good.
I saw some of the game because I was celebrating a little bit with my girl, at the bar and everything.
Oh, okay.
And I got an idea. And I didn't know that Judon got traded. But
yep,
we got a chance to get a left tackle, a true left tackle. It started 3 years ago. He got a 5th-year option. It's coming up. Been hurt a couple times, but he only missed a couple games. Last year he was ranked top left tackle behind Trent Williams. His name is Christian Dussault from Minnesota.
Yeah.
6'5", 25 years old.
And why are they getting rid of him?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because the injury part, and they come up with fifth-year option. They drafted a guy named Walter Ross out of Oklahoma, 6'6", 313, and he's 23. That's his replacement.
Yeah, but I want to go back to why they're trading him. They think that they can play.
They got a younger and a better player, and he's been injured a couple times. Like, he missed a couple games.
I'm not ready to say a rookie coming into the league is better than Christian Dussault. He's a good player.
He's 23. Yeah, but Dussault has had injuries for every year he done played. He missed a couple games here, a couple games there. And, like, last year he played 15 out of 17. Year before that he played 14 out of 17.
I'm going to text Elliot right now.
So that's pretty good.
Elliot,
You miss
Minnesota.
a game or two every year? Like,
Yeah.
I'll take
Yeah,
that.
but, and I give them a second and a third. But I was thinking, I hope trade Judon. But I don't understand why they get Bill's mentality. You got a good player, you take less for him. I know he's 31, but he's one 32. Of the best passers. You could have
He will be 32.
Well, you could have got at least a high end too.
Oh, come on.
If they traded him before the draft.
Yeah, before the draft.
Before the draft, they might have been able to get a 2. You're not
now.
I thought a 3 was the best you were going to get for him. I think it's a decent return. I think it's a good trade for both teams.
I would trade him to Minnesota. I would have traded him to Minnesota because they need a pass rusher also. And I would at least gave him a second with Judon and got Dussault. Because I know they're going to give that rookie because they just drafted that rookie.
So
round.
Minnesota doesn't want Dussault because he's hurt all the time, but he's going to be the answer to our prayers at tackle.
Wow.
Eldred, I don't normally argue with you, but I don't really understand the logic on this one.
Than what you got with Berry and Lowe. I would take 15 games with him.
I would too. And I think the Vikings would. This is my point.
Well, he thinks the Ross kid's going to start over.
It's your option, and they're not talking. I'm telling you.
All right.
Well,
thanks, Eldred. Appreciate it.
I don't want any part of trading draft assets to pick up a tackle who's going to be a free agent.
They need more picks.
Right.
Okay, they need more picks, not less. Good point.
And didn't Elliott? I mean, they had to be doing cartwheels over getting a third for Judon, right?
I think so. I think here's the indication that they did like it.
They announced the rare announcement.
Now
this compensation.
That's not rare announcement for this regime.
Well, really?
How many trades has this regime made?
Exactly.
Okay.
But we know the
No, I know.
We know the compensation when this regime makes a trade.
I'm just saying in the past they've never said compensation.
Bill Belichick wouldn't have said
no.
Bill Belichick wouldn't have said what it was.
Maybe this regime, that's going to be a consistent thing from now on.
Okay. Do you remember, and I know you will, Fred, maybe a week or two ago when we were talking about adding Judon to the package to get Brandon Ayuk?
Right.
Now all of a sudden we get a third-round pick for Judon, and it's like, wow, unbelievable return. No, this is what, we talked about a day 2 pick from the start for him.
Did you think they were going to get a third round for
Yes.
Judon? Okay. Then I give you credit.
And it's actually...
you were one of the few.
And in fairness, it's kind of more like a fourth because you're trading into the future. If it was this year, I thought a third-round pick made sense. I said it a million times. I thought a day 2 pick was in play.
What do you mean the future? It's
when
next
you
year.
trade for the next year's draft.
Yeah,
you get a year earlier. That's the way it works. A draft pick is kind of like you get an extra year of the draft because it's in the future. It's not going to help you this year.
No, it's not going to help you this year.
I'm trading you a player now that's going to help you now.
Yeah.
I'm not getting anything next year, so
Yeah.
you got to give me more. You got to give me an extra round. It's kind of like if it was this year, maybe a fourth round. I think.
So it's a next year tax?
I think, yeah. I think a day 2 pick makes sense. I think it's a good return. I think it's a good trade for the Patriots. I like the move.
I didn't hear anyone say that.
You didn't hear anyone say that they could trade like a third-round pick in Judon for Brandon Ayuk?
No.
You didn't hear that?
No.
I'm pretty sure Greg Bedard reported it.
No, I heard, well, maybe, but I didn't hear anyone just saying if the Patriots trade Judon, they should get a third. Most people said they wouldn't get a third. They'd get less.
Okay.
Right? That's what I heard.
Exactly right.
They wanted to get Brandon Ayuk for him.
Yeah.
okay,
but
so you can get Brandon Ayuk for him, but you can't get a 3rd-round pick.
No, but it was
like the 90th pick of the draft.
It was like Judon plus whatever.
Born.
Yeah.
And a 2.
No, that was a different trade. A 2 and a 3 and Bourne for Ayuk was that trade.
Well,
I mean, listen.
I mean, Bourne was.
I don't think this is an outrageous
in
return.
terms of
If you want to have a party over it, fine.
In terms of what the actual deal was that we were offering San Francisco, it was Bourne. Judon was just someone.
There have been other. If we're going to go by what people are reporting, the report was Bourne a 2 and a 3 for Ayuk.
Okay.
That's the report.
Yeah, Judon wasn't included in that, though.
That's a different trade.
Right.
It was Judon in the 3rd for Ayuk.
Who said that?
Different people.
Like who?
Who said that they wouldn't get a 3rd-round pick?
Everybody.
No further questions.
Everybody that.
If you can't name your source, I ain't naming mine.
All the writers.
How's that?
All
See
the.
what I do? I back
all
into
the
a tape
no,
corner.
All the peanut gallery.
Wait till I get you next
all
week.
All the peanut gallery.
I'm just driving the bus next week.
All the peanut gallery said, and he.
No,
and he agrees.
listen. Can I just? We can get bogged down in our Fred Paul semantics.
Yeah.
I like the trade. I think it was a good move. I've been telling you, and Mike got on board with me. Maybe about
Sounded
2 or 3.
like you were meh.
About 2 or 3. Well, I think this is what he was worth.
Yeah.
I think this was a good trade for both teams.
For both teams.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I think this is a good move. I think Atlanta thinks they have aspirations.
Well,
and they need help on defense.
What's
They signed
misguided aspirations?
They signed Justin Simmons too. I
Correct.
think that's like for them, that's a good move.
What do you think about the fact that he's not going to demand more money from Atlanta?
Oh, I think he will.
That's what I'm hearing. That he's going to
No,
play.
They said they made the trade without a guarantee that he like Hassan Reddick.
Right.
They made the trade before they talked to him about a new contract.
Right.
They're trusting. Judon is trusting Atlanta. If he plays for $6.5 million, I'll be stunned. Stunned.
But yeah, I mean,
he wasn't playing for $6.5 million here.
Oh,
I'll
I know
guarantee you
that. I know that. So that's why I'm a little surprised that he went. I guess maybe he couldn't stop the trade, but like you would think that he'd want something in guarantee before he got there.
He's gonna expect it.
Oh, okay.
I think you're on.
Oh, okay. I just stumbled onto something. Okay.
All right, let's grab a couple calls here. Trey in Tampa's got a bone to pick with Fred. You better not miss. You coming at the king, Trey. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Fred hasn't said anything
Yeah, first
controversial.
and foremost, I'd like to address something. I called in last week. Didn't get a chance to address this with Fred. But Fred, when you were discussing Kyle Duggar, you said he filled the hole and creamed the guy. That was disgusting analysis on your part. One of the sickest things I've ever heard in my life. Do better next time.
Did I say that? I remember saying
he filled the hole. You said he filled the hole and creamed the guy. That's been weighing heavy on my spirit.
Okay, no, Trey, fair enough. I'll give you one that's
awesome,
I'll give
Trey.
you one that's like that today. I was going by a TV and the Little League World Series was on. So this kid takes a ground ball and fires it to first, real good arm. The announcer goes, as Snoop Dogg would say, he's got a rocket in his pocket. I'm thinking to myself, I don't think that's what Snoop Dogg means when he says that. This is Little League World Series,
Do
dude.
better. That's all I ask, Fred. I love you. I've been listening since 2011. I've only called in maybe 3 times in my entire.
I had you thinking all week. I did my job. All right.
It's disturbed my soul. It's been
Thanks, Trey. Thanks, Trey. Great call. Grab one more
I
here
can't
before
believe
we
he
take
called
a
in
break.
just for that. That's awesome.
Sam
to listen
from
to the
North
tape.
Carolina. Hey, Sam.
Hi, guys. I've been watching football for over 50 years. I watched Drake May the last 2 years.
Oh, here we go.
And I told people he was the best QB in the draft. I had Josh Allen as the top quarterback coming out in 2018. This kid throws maybe the best deep ball that I've seen. And I don't think the Patriots even realize what they have and how good he can be. I don't want to see him get thrown to the wolves. I don't want to see him get Tim Couch. Patriots desperately need some line help. We don't want to ruin this kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
I like that.
Appreciate
I
it.
like it.
Yeah, so one of the
Sounds
things,
like a scout.
The call,
Yeah.
Sounds like a
One of
seasoned
the things
scout.
that
Wait a
was-
minute. Wait a
Go
minute.
ahead. Go ahead, Matt.
So Fred goes, he likes it. Fred wants him to play week.
No, I know. I like the scouting report.
Okay, but this guy doesn't want him to play week.
I know.
You know,
He doesn't want to throw him to the
I'm
wolves.
too old to remember Jim Plunkett. They ruined Plunkett.
Oh yeah, he went to L.A. He was terrible.
I'm too
No,
old
no, no.
to
But,
remember.
He went to Oakland. He was awful.
no, but it took him 3 years in order to rehabilitate himself in order to play. He was ruined with the Patriots.
He won 2 Super Bowls.
Well,
with
the
Oakland.
Patriots were a bad team.
They were a bad team, and they threw him out there into the wolves, and he got killed.
I know, but like they didn't ruin his career. That's what the people are talking. They you know,
His career was scarred.
They think of David Carr, and like he was never good.
I have a
again.
million of those.
Yeah.
As you know.
Yeah.
Mike's tired of hearing it. But I just wanted to say one quick thing. Like we talk about the preseason games. Drake May spoke a while ago, and he told reporters that they kind of put in a bunch of plays that were very similar to what he ran at North Carolina, and sort of getting
Good.
on the same page as Alex May. But this is what I'm talking about, though. Like you can sort of dial it up in a preseason game to help your guy, to make him, because he's going to get looks and he's going to play against secondary players, and you can make him look good. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the same in the real thing.
Was that an off-platform throw? That because I like the off-platform throws. Those are the ones that I really like. Is that the metal platform?
No, off schedule.
Yeah, off. Yeah.
Pretty sure I used off platform at least once.
Right, because you're a swinger. You, Evan, Amos Alonzo Bedard,
Neil Perry.
I had a great talk with Brian Hoyer about the all 22s.
Oh no! Oh no! All right,
it was great.
Well, we're gonna take a quick break here. You're listening to the Patriots post-game show presented by DraftKings.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns to turnovers, and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV, and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
For customers around the world, including the entire Fortune 100 and the NFL. Because when the game is on the line, and it's always on the line, the NFL relies on Cisco.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex, this contours to it. So the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
Without good blocking, your team's not going anywhere. Cisco blocks cyber attacks for customers around the world, including the entire Fortune 100 and the NFL. Because when the game is on the line, and it's always on the line, the NFL relies on Cisco.
It ain't my dad's razor, Dad.
Hey, watch it.
It's from Gillette Labs. This green bar releases trapped hairs from my face.
Game changer.
While the Flex, this contours to it. So the 5 blades can get virtually every hair in one stroke. For the ultimate Gillette shaving experience.
The best a man can get
is Gillette Labs.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
When someone
By
accidentally
the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi,
replacements were shipped
you'll be
FedEx,
15
and with
seconds
control
closer to
delivery,
game.
Everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com. Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Mike Dussault.
All right, we're back on the Patriots post-game show sponsored by DraftKings. Rolling right along here, guys. And, just for Eldred, we got a few emails just letting us know that Christian Darrisaw did, in fact, sign an extension. So as good as that plan
I didn't
sounds,
even know about the extension.
Good correction, Mike.
I didn't even know about
Will
the
not be
extension.
happening.
I just was like, why is Minnesota trading a really good tackle when teams around the league don't have good tackles?
A couple emails here along the
So
lines.
let's get their young kid.
There you go. Jeffrey from Canada. What is the point of going with Brissett, regardless of whether Drake May is or isn't the guy? Brissett is never the future, so why waste another minute of Drake May's development trying to make him earn it?
That's kind of how I feel.
Well, that's the question: is do you think you're wasting time in his development? Some people would say no. You're actually helping him by not putting him in a really bad situation. I I just, unless this offensive line is what it was, is going to be every game like it was on Tuesday, then yes. If it's going to be like it was on Tuesday, then don't put him out there. That's ridiculous. You can't run an offense if you're that bad. I don't think they're going to be that bad. They weren't tonight. They were a lot better than they showed on Tuesday
How that
against
happens
twos.
when those guys aren't in the game.
Right.
For whatever reason. But it wasn't a train wreck tonight like it was Tuesday.
No.
They could run an offense tonight. And if that's the case, put May out there.
Yeah. I'm going to read this email, and I'm going to come to Paul's defense. So, Paul, don't get too worked up. But first, Andre from New Jersey says, Paul, I think you're phenomenal, but your take on Wise is the craziest thing I've heard come out of your mouth. Very disappointing take, Paul. So I'm going to come to your
Doesn't know
defense
Paul
because I
very
didn't really
well.
get to chime in as the trio kind of got back and forth. But I agree with Paul, and I'm sorry. I've watched every practice, and Dietrich Wise is a rotational, and he's going to make the team, but he's not a key part of the first defense that's out there.
I don't
He
know
is
I don't know who said he was going to be a key part. He's a rotational player.
But so
Can
can
I
you be
just-
surprised? He's not a starter. He's but he has been in the past, and that what I think his usage is declining a little bit. I would say.
I just want to we do this every year in the summer, and one of the things that we get asked a lot is,
Surprise.
can you give me a surprise cut? And Fred, I just want you to again, we have this conversation, we role play.
Right.
Dietrich Wise.
I
What
would
do you
be
say?
surprised if he
Okay,
was cut.
so my surprise cut candidate is Dietrich Wise. You inevitably say, you think Dietrich Wise is going to get cut? And I say, no. Well, you just said it. I said, no, you asked me for a surprise cut.
Right.
I would be surprised if Dietrich Wise is cut.
So, Mike, is it
But I
possible?
think he's a candidate.
Is it possible that Dietrich Wise is that kind of a kid that 300 at bats, he's a pretty good player, but if he gets to 450 or 500 at bats, not so much.
No, I think that's fair, and I think in years past when you
That's
saw his
his sweet
usage
spot.
rise, he was probably a little bit more of a
Exposed.
pass rusher than an early down run stopper, and I think now they've kind of realized that, and they're getting away from that.
I think he's
and just using him as a pass rusher.
I think he's Jarvis Green at Jarvis Green's height.
That's it. That's Jarvis.
There was a couple seasons when
Jarvis
Jarvis
Green was a better
Green
player.
was
Right.
good
Yeah.
at what he did, and I think that's why.
Until 2009, when Seymour left, and they tried to put him at right defensive end in the
Full
base
time.
3-4,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he
And
couldn't
I
stop
think that's
the run.
why Fred
Ray
raises
Rice
the
is still
analogy.
running.
Right.
Yeah, I think the comp is decent. I agree with Matt. I think that Jarvis Green, unquestionably, Jarvis Green was a better pass rusher. I think Dietrich Wise is a better all-around player.
That's
but
fair.
Jarvis Green was a really valuable pass rusher
right.
for some really good teams.
Yep.
No, and based on just off the field stuff, I would say it's nearly impossible to imagine this team or imagining Gerard Mayo not wanting Dietrich Wise in the mix with you've lost leadership
program
in
guy.
Vernon.
So
Program
the
guy.
email the email is more than fair.
Yeah.
I do not believe that Dietrich Wise will be cut.
You'd be surprised if he is.
I think he's
Yeah.
like there is a 0.00% chance that Drake May is going to. I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
You could just say any name. I don't
Right.
think there's
No.
any chance
Right.
that a lot of these guys
There's
will
a
be cut.
percentage
Demario
chance.
Douglas
Sure.
is not getting cut.
Right.
I can't say that definitively about Dietrich Wise.
Yeah.
Like Jabril Peppers is not getting
Oh,
cut.
God.
Right.
0.0.
Don't even say it. Don't even bring it up. Bill in Vista, California, please explain to me how they're able to continually trot out Lowe as the starting left tackle.
It's a fair question.
You're telling
I
this
think that's
guy
a great question.
is the top option. Make it make sense, guys.
I think he's the top option. That's the problem.
That's all. That's really the only thing that makes sense.
And that's just based on the eyeball test, meaning what you've seen over the last week.
Yeah.
He's been
the left
and
tackle
That's what I
every,
mean.
every
No,
day
that's
for a
what I mean.
long time.
Right.
Like going back to like putting pads on.
Yeah, right. I mean, and that's what we talked about on the pregame show where initially the thought we had was like, wouldn't it be great if in 2 weeks they've kind of settled on a line? And it's
they settled on a
they've
line.
done
and no
that.
one
I
likes
don't
it.
feel great. It hasn't been getting better.
I think that the thing to hope for is what Mike and I talked in the pregame show is Caden Wallace and
Right.
Raiden Robinson. If those two guys can develop and maybe, and I made the
Mid-year?
comment. I made the comment on the broadcast. Maybe Vidarian Lowe and Chuk Okorafor are better than Caden Wallace right now. But
Same
maybe
thing.
late September, middle of October, you're like, you know what? Caden Wallace is just as good as these guys. Let's go.
Yeah, I do think too. It's just worth mentioning, and I don't know for sure names, Darasov, all that stuff. But cut down day, a couple weeks, a lot of guys get thrown into the wind. Not
Kansas City,
you
right?
know,
Isn't there? But I think one of those guys got hurt.
I don't. I mean, I just there's no one on the top of my mind that this guy could get cut. I'm sure there's someone out there who knows the whole league could say, but there are opportunities. Not guys that they just cut the best left tackle in the league and we're going to get him. But I mean, where they're at right now, maybe you get a guy who can at least come in and has played some left tackle or gives you an option other than.
What's your waiver wire position?
Pretty
3.
high. Yeah, so you got a
but,
chance.
But the thing is, the guys that you would want that get cut are not subject to waivers.
Right.
Ooh, deep dive, Paul. That's why
No,
you're the best.
like right now, if you're a vested veteran,
yeah.
You're not subject to waivers. You become a free agent automatically. If you have less than 3 years, 3 accrued seasons, then you are.
Yeah.
Those guys are probably not any different than the guys you already have.
Come start in New England, buddy. We got to start.
Like teams don't discard, second-year tackles that have a lot of promise.
That are about to sign 4-year extension, multi-million-dollar extensions. Good times.
You really like that Darisaur extension?
They're just laughing because it was like 6 emails came in like within 2 seconds of like actually 3 weeks ago. Question from Alex in Raleigh though, Paul. This is kind of along the lines of what we've been talking about. Defensively, I know Covington is a first-time coordinator, and it was said he looks to blitz a lot. Is that play call going to become a problem for this team? The secondary seemed to struggle often in the game long, and when facing a team in the regular season, this could be a real problem for us. Curious your thoughts. I mean, you've been all over this one.
2nd and 22 in the second quarter.
Ugh, that was
K19 on the screen.
Play. Ugly play. A few missed tackles.
And that's the kind of stuff I think he's talking about. But yeah, I do wonder if they have a hard time getting pressure without dialing something up. Because at some point you got to play regular defense.
Yeah. Yep. And it just makes everything harder. And I mean, ideally you've got those one-on-one winners.
But I'll tell you, the guys, Devin and Jason and Brian, too, were talking about it. They're really confident in their ability to do different things and be versatile.
That's
especially
great,
in the secondary.
You better have at least one cornerback who doesn't have to be Darrelle Revis, but he can be one-on-one with a top receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they do have some speed back there. I don't know if any of those guys is going to be Darrelle Revis. But let's bring this email in, though, because it's fair. I mean, we spent a lot of time on May, and Emery writes in and says, I feel like a couple good flashes from May completely overshadowed a bad team performance. Our starting QB looked bad. Our starting left tackle got beat multiple times by the Eagles' 4th best pass rusher. The only consistent pass rush we got was in the first half when we had our starters in against the backup O-line. I think the joint practice was a much more apples-to-apples comparison.
It could have been.
Is that fair?
It could have been.
It's hard to argue with much of that.
Yeah.
It's hard to find
probably
a lot of guys on the up list.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but
I was going to say, I don't think it's as dire of a picture as maybe he paints.
Yeah, well, I would say the picture that was painted kind of over the last week since the joint practice
was
and
dire.
We were coming in dire, and now it's like you just see a sign of hope, and that's all kind of you need.
We didn't see those guys tonight from the Eagles. Like, we didn't see Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert.
It's going to look a lot different when you have Jalen Hurts squirting out of one of these blitzes, dropping a pass to A.J. Brown, who now has 2 guys, in the secondary that he has to beat.
You could say, well, Kenny Pickett started a lot of games in this league, and that's true. Like, that's not the average backup quarterback. He's a young guy who's played a lot. But who was he playing with?
Yep.
And he was playing against, I don't know, maybe 8 starters?
Yeah, I didn't get a firm number. I mean, Carter and the big guys.
No, for the Patriots. What I'm talking about for the Patriots defense, it was Keon White, Farms, and Aquale. I mean, that conceivably could be their starting defensive line.
Godshaw.
Godshaw was in as well. Anthony Jennings and
Godshaw
Josh
didn't play
Uche.
tonight.
I didn't see
DNP
Godshaw
tonight. He was a healthy scratch.
Godshaw did not play?
Did not play tonight.
Oh, all right. I thought he played in the first series. No.
I didn't see him.
Okay. Anthony Jennings, Josh Uche, Jelani Tavai.
Tavai didn't play, did he?
Yeah,
Tavai played a lot.
Tavai played.
Yeah, played a ton.
Yeah.
Every time I
He had a
saw
pretty
him,
good
he had
coverage.
his helmet off and was just
no Bentley.
high-fiving guys.
No Bentley.
No
Bentley,
Bentley.
No Bentley.
Yeah, Duggar, Peppers.
And no Duggar and Peppers.
Correct.
Yeah.
And if you're going to throw
Jay
Godshaw,
Jones.
I mean.
Oh, no Jonathan Jones.
Yeah, but Gonzalez played, so you had 7 starters. No Godshaw, no Jonathan Jones, no Duggar, no Peppers. And Bentley. 5 starters.
Well,
yeah.
5 starters didn't play. So you had six starters out there against all backups.
But the edge guys, I mean, that's what you got, right? Like, I mean,
So you should dominate.
yeah,
And they
those
did.
are your guys. Better from Keon White though, a little bit of flash of him. I like that. Didn't get a ton of that. Randy in California, predictions for what happens to Zappi and when? Do you think there's any trade value in there?
A lot of people felt he was disrespected in this game.
It was wait. What game was it they brought? What game last year they brought somebody in just for the 2-minute warning?
Germany.
That was yeah.
That was ridiculous.
That's exactly what it was again. He must be feeling like,
yeah.
What am I doing? Oh boy. Caleb writes in. He likes Marcellus Dial's open field tackling, but his coverage is whack so far from what I've seen. I think he's better suited at safety. What do you think? Logjam at safety right now. Even harder to break in there if you can't break in a corner. Hard to see him. No phones. We will hear from Gerard Mayo. Do we have that queued up? Shall we go to Gerard Mayo? Let's do that. Let's hear from the head coach after tonight's loss.
Look, obviously that one kind of stings. First loss as a head coach, and just like last week, we talked about this game being very important, especially after we practiced against this team, and I felt like the guys were ready to go. I just got to do a better job making sure that we focus on the details across the board. And I always believe in good fundamentals really outweighs the X's and O's. If you look at the game, the first half we tackled a lot better than we did the second half. It's just about it's those 3 or 4 plays that always bite you. And that's what I told the team. The problem is you just never know when those plays are going to show up. So back to the drawing board.
Gerard, you said that Drake would get more snaps. Just what did you see of him, particularly his poise and getting into the end zone?
Yeah, he had great composure. I thought it was a good drive. I thought he went out there and did a lot of good things. So hopefully he can build on that, and we'll see how this week goes.
Gerard, we haven't had a chance to talk to you since the Matthew Judon trade. I was wondering if you could comment on that.
Look, I mean, you guys know how I feel about Judon, and obviously he's moving on. I felt like, it's a win-win for both parties, and I wish him nothing but the best. I always tell the guys these are long-term relationships, and nothing's changed.
Building off that, Gerard, who are some of the players that you think might be a big part of filling, what Judon would have done for you?
Yeah, we've gone years without having a premier rusher, right? Chandler Jones, the Judons of the world, but we were able to manufacture pass rush through our stunts and games and our game planning. So, look, it's not going to be one person. It's hard to sit here and say one person can replace Matthew Judon, both on the field and both on the field and off the field. But I think we have a good group ready to go and step into those shoes.
Gerard, with Drake, it looked like you guys put him in shotgun. You put him in some empty, some zone read stuff that looked like what he did in college. How important was it to use some of those concepts that maybe he was familiar with to get him comfortable?
It's very important to do those things. Like you said, he did it in college, and the problem is from college to here is just the language. And once you can start to link the language that you learned in college to the language that you're learning right now, the game becomes a little bit easier from an X's and O's perspective. So I look forward to seeing how he builds off of today, but he did a lot of good things.
Gerard, what went into the decision to play Drake so much more tonight than last week? Was that always the plan?
Yeah, that was always the plan. Kind of what I told you guys last week. That was always the plan, to play him more. It was the plan to play him in the third quarter so we can go through some of those adjustments and see if he can handle that stuff, and he did.
Hey, Gerard. I know it's been against backup offensive lines the first 2 preseason games, but how much of the success that you guys have had pass rushing do you think can translate?
Yeah, it's been good to see that. I would say if you watch the defensive film against the Eagles, they had their starters in there, and we still were able to generate a good amount of pass rush. So it's exciting, and at the same time, look, it doesn't matter when you come out here today and you just don't have those impactful plays later in the game. So.
Back to the middle.
Gerard, I know you guys had the design run. Design run at the goal line, but a few other plays. Drake May takes off running, scrambles, also scrambling to the side to throw the ball away. How are you feeling about your top pick taking off running and escaping the pocket that much in a preseason game?
You don't want to see them take big hits. I talked to Joe when he came off the field, when he tried to run over a guy. These are grown men on the other side as well. What I will say, if you look at the best quarterbacks in the league, they have to be able to make those off-schedule plays. And I would say all 3 of those guys, well, all of them really have the ability to do that. It's more about the hits. It's okay getting out the pocket.
Hi, Gerard. Hey. You talk about Drake May's composure. I was just curious how you've kind of seen that grow throughout this preseason, and what about it tonight that especially stuck out to you?
Well, one of the reasons we drafted Drake was, through the interview process, you could kind of tell this was an even-keeled guy. And I think you guys can probably see it, from the stands. This guy doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He was like that in college. He probably was like that as a kid, and he remains that way now, which is a good thing for a quarterback. Those guys have to, they have to maintain their composure and get the call to the huddle and get those guys out the huddle and be ready to go. So he's always been like that in my mind.
Gerard, for Drake's touchdown, you had 6 rookies on the field at the same time. How have you seen this group gel, and just kind of how cool of a moment was that for all those guys to be there?
No, it was great. It was great. And look, we hope that these guys can grow up together and develop together, and we have a good nucleus of guys in the future. And that's what that's kind of what we were aiming for.
Alan Siegel on your left.
Gerard, how much of a case is Kayshon Boutte making for not only stay with his team, but to be a consistent part of this offense?
Yeah, I mean, he's making a great case. It seems like every day he's making plays. He runs good routes. He, he has good hands. The run after the catch ability, it's all there. Now it's about just gaining the trust not only of your teammates but also the coaches. So he definitely has a chance.
Gerard, you talk about there are a lot of details that can be improved. Can you talk about the 2 drops from Javon Baker? Is that something that he can practice during the training, or that's some concentration he can pay more attention on?
Absolutely. I think it's a combination of, concentration, figuring out what he has to do. And look, he has good hands. He had good hands in college. He has good hands now. He just, he has to show that in the game.
2 more questions.
Gerard, I know you've mentioned in the past that one of Drake May's positives is that he can make plays by himself and overcome some things around him. I was wondering, would the offensive line ever be an impediment to maybe considering him as the starter, or maybe, not giving him as much time if you don't trust the line?
For me, we always talk about competition, and that's at all spots. So even if Drake, beats out Jacoby, I mean, he earned that role. And we don't really take that into consideration when he's ready to go. And if he's better than Jacoby, then he'll play, he'll start.
Gerard, what did you see from your offensive line tonight?
There were definitely some ups and some downs. I would say there's a dramatic drop-off, not really physically, but just knowing what to do between the first line and the second and third guys. They have to get better as a whole, as a unit. They just have to get better, and that comes through playing football games. So we have another preseason game coming up. We're going to play, and that's the only way you're going to get better at football is playing football. Thanks, guys.
All right, our post-game press conferences are presented by Microsoft Surface. A big thank you to our partner, Microsoft Surface, the official sideline technology provider and laptop of the NFL and the New England Patriots that provides players and coaches with the tools to succeed both on and off the field. Check out the new Surface Pro, designed to keep us with you as the most flexible, most powerful 2-in-1 laptop and tablet out there at surface.com. You see them beautiful right here?
Right.
Wonderful.
Fred?
The only way you get better at football is playing football. Does that go for quarterbacks too?
I think so.
I wonder.
And with
So I'll tell you.
I wonder.
I think you and I are on the same wavelength here.
Yeah.
What I want, but does he mean the only way we're going to get ready is we got to play again next week? The starter's got to play.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be.
Keep us hanging on.
Coach Mayo.
I would say door ajar.
Coach Mayo, last week was not your first win. This week was not your first loss. We hold those for the regular season, and I hope your first win comes against Cincinnati.
Oh, sorry.
But these are not your wins and losses. These are preseason games. We're going to reserve that moniker for the regular season.
I got to say, though, I kind of liked agitated Mayo. I haven't really seen a lot of agitated Mayo, and he seemed like genuinely kind of like perturbed that they weren't able to hold on to that one and then gave up some plays, especially defensively. No, you think it's an act? Playing it up? No?
Like,
don't call Fred out like that. What are you doing?
I don't know. Like, compared to last week, right? Other than when Milton came in, this week was probably better.
I would say that the flashes that May had tonight are the only thing that really mattered.
Yeah, but you did better in the first half when things were a little bit than you did last week, right?
That was like the same. 10-3 this week, 7-0 last week. You really did very little offensively in both games.
Yeah.
But I would say I would rather have very little offensively with the little that you had being directed by Drake May.
Because it felt purposeful.
Yeah,
and
but I guess
absolutely.
I guess to be
I felt better about tonight.
I guess to be more bothered about this week than last week doesn't seem right.
I feel better about tonight than I did last week.
So maybe he thinks, well, we're another week into it. We should be better than what we were. I guess I don't know, but a little.
He's big on that.
Yeah,
you know, the weeks into it.
Well,
and,
you stack your practices.
But and I understand that like you always want to continue to play better, but no team ever does that. No, like even the 2007 Patriots did not play their best game in the last one. Like
no
one wins them all. So you're not always playing better.
No,
they came out of the gate like gangbusters and then slow fade at the end.
Right.
Kind of
less mistakes. They had mistakes this week, but not as many as last week.
A few many.
They really cut back on the pre-snap penalties, which is what I wanted to see.
It's just the snaps that continue to be a real problem, and it's if David Andrews goes down now, that's a big problem.
Now maybe
perhaps
Coach Mayo's angst is because his projected starter took a step back.
I mean, maybe.
I like it.
What I was reading was kind of like he was disappointed in the defense at the end that they weren't able to make.
These guys aren't going to be on the team.
I know, and that's
so what's he? That's what I'm saying.
You're in the defense. You're all
They're
defense.
not going to.
I thought he's a defense
Get
guy.
with
I
it.
know.
Get with it. It's the modern era.
He's like, if Azizi Hearn could have just, God damn it, I'm mad.
As a teaching,
get with Fred and me.
As a lesson to these guys in their careers, I get what he. But these guys aren't going to be on the team.
No, he just wants to win. Fred. He's got to win.
He should be more concerned with what happened in the first half.
Well, I don't know. It would have been a little jarring if he got up there and like, so what do you guys think of Drake?
But I like your theory, Fred.
Yeah.
Like last week, Brissett went in there for like 4 plays. They got a first down, and then and tonight, like he was in there for 3 plays, and 2 of them were bad plays by him.
Yeah.
Or he was in more than 3 plays.
Two series, right?
2 series.
He did the first quarter.
Yeah, 2 series. It was an extra series that I skipped, and it ends in a disaster. I thought the first series ended with a bad throw on 3rd down, and the one was a disaster with a pick in the end zone.
I mean,
that might be it. He might just look at that and like, this is my offense.
Right.
I can't have that.
Yeah, that was 2023 Patriots for me, where it was a drive where I think it was like something like 9 plays for like 40 yards, something stupid like that.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Almost entirely
it's not
runs.
like they fashioned a great drive.
Right, it was like 4 yards
If
a
you
pop.
listened to the broadcast, you would have thought they fashioned a great drive.
He had a couple passes, and then the 3rd pass got picked off. I mean, it just I was having haunting memories of that kind of drive to nowhere that suddenly just gets picked off.
Do we have a game book? What was that drive?
Sure, I can tell you.
It was like 35 yards.
I got it right
I thought they ran the ball pretty well.
9 plays, 31 yards, 2 first downs.
I said 35. That's not bad.
They ended up at the Philly 8. They went from the 39 to the.
Stevenson averaged 3 yards a carry. Like in all of his runs, like he was dragging guys. Like he ran really well.
Yeah.
I thought Stevenson maximized the yardage that was there.
Yeah.
But there just was not a lot of room to run.
Kevin Harris got a nice little run. You guys see anything from him at all? I mean, do you think he's a 3rd rotational guy for them?
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting. Do they keep 4 running backs? Do you keep 2 runners and 2 pass catchers? You keep Stevenson and Harris and then keep Gibson and Hasty?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Hasty, the same thing. I mean,
what about
pass,
Jennings?
I think
he didn't play a lot this week.
I like his physicality. He's a good blocker.
Yeah.
He had 2 good blitz pickups. I think you can get him on the practice squad.
That's what I was thinking too.
If you need some depth there,
they kind of kept him contained. I just wonder next week maybe.
How do you compare Hasty to Jennings? Is Hasty more of a runner? Jennings more.
Hasty smaller, shiftier. Jennings bigger, more
Hasty's
broken
definitely
tackle kind of a guy.
Catching, 3rd down type.
But I think what Paul and I like about Jennings is he kind of smooth catching the ball. Like that shows up to me like he looks comfortable.
He looks better in that department than Kevin Harris.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, he seems kind of buried still. It hasn't been like
he's just not even getting carries.
Yeah, if they were as excited as him as we are, he would have been playing a little bit more earlier. Maybe some chance when Kevin Harris went in, but no, I don't know. Hard to tell if there's anything there. Let's see. Josh in Dallas writes in: is there a chance they cut Baker and put him on the practice squad? With the boomer bust nature, I wonder if they'd rather clear the spot for Booty and Rager, who are both seemingly more consistent, even if they are a bit redundant, to give Baker time to develop. I don't see that at all. I mean, Baker, I think is
who's our receiver? What's our receiver room look like right now? What do you think? Who makes the team?
So I think based on the time of the calendar, now we'll see if it doesn't happen on, like say Sunday. Kendrick Bourne, I got to think that he's going to open on PUP.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know.
He
seems like he does a lot of work at practice.
So it's like 11, 2, and 3 were out there.
All right, so Bourne on PUP, Polk and Baker, locks.
Polk, Baker, Douglas,
11.
Osborne, and then you have to decide: are you looking for one more or two more? And then,
so then you got
Rager,
Thornton, Rager, Booty, and it's 2 or 1 of those 3.
I think
for
it's
me,
Booty's out.
I would keep both Rager and Thornton, because they're speed guys that I think might be able to be valuable clearing out.
Yeah.
Over
And
the
then
top.
at some point, Bourne comes back, but by then someone's injured.
Yeah.
That decision
It's a good
gets
bonus
made
to
for-
have.
Yeah.
I mean, the old Patriots seem to put themselves into a position where they bring Bourne back this week, and like they do stuff like that would drive me nuts. Where it was like, just keep him on pup. You can, to make it hard on yourself. I think Booty to me is the guy out. Try to get him on the practice squad, but how many of those guys do you need?
The pup rule, once the season starts, he has to then be converted to
he could
IR.
stay on. Or no, he'd just be on PUP
No.
for I think first 6 games.
Oh, you can still do it
I
on
think
PUP?
I think it's 4 games.
4 games.
Okay.
I mean,
They
that's
moved it back.
changed 3. I think it's 4 games.
And the IR rules have changed
But
as well.
like once
so
the season starts, though, you can't bring him back anytime, right? You have to wait 4 games.
if he stays on PUP,
For PUP,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the IR rules have shifted, and I forget the details now, but it's not the thing where everybody needs to be on the roster and then
Right.
get put on IR.
But you
can
have to
IR
make
guys.
it to the end of camp. Like if you get put on IR now,
Yeah, you're
out.
out. Yeah.
But if you get put on IR when they cut it down, they don't make you go through the charade of he's on the 53, we're going to cut this other guy. Then tomorrow we're going to put this guy on IR and then re-sign this guy that we cut. They don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it gets to cut down day, which is what? Do you have that off the top of your head, Mike?
It's that Tuesday.
So if it gets to that
Tuesday,
cut down
4
day
p.m.
and someone's injured and gets put on IR, that doesn't count as a roster spot.
Yeah. I don't know. Just looking at the numbers, I haven't seen enough from Booty that he moves the needle. Rager, we got some special teams.
So it's the 27th?
Still out there, yeah.
Tuesday?
Tuesday, 27th, 4 o'clock. So they'll have their game Sunday night, which I think is the last game of the preseason for everybody.
25th.
You'll have a day, and then the cuts will begin. We'll see what they get down to.
And a lot of times they cut people before that, too.
Yeah, they'll probably
I
cut
almost
some.
wonder this week if they might try to sauce.
But
some
it'll be
guys down
tough
a
for
little
them
bit.
because they have a game.
Yeah.
Like
A
so
late
late.
game,
You know,
right,
like
Sunday.
Like if they played Thursday and
Right.
they don't have cuts until Tuesday, I could see
Yeah.
8 or 10 guys going on, say, the Friday after the game.
Right.
But now they might need those
Yeah,
bodies for the
that's
game.
true.
Yeah. All right, you guys want to hear from Drake May? Is that we efforted that together?
It's
All right.
Drake.
Let's take a listen to Drake May.
What's going on? You have questions for Drake? Start with Dan Roach.
Drake, just your thought on getting more snaps, and Jacoby just was saying, and the McCourty twins, that you got to get a better celebration when you go into the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah, I didn't really plan on a rushing one. I probably should have thought of one. Usually, in college, I did the finger roll, but I was just happy to get in the end zone. Happy to score points. I think, it's fun to get out there. I'm glad the weather held off. And other than that, thought the guys did a good job. I thought up front they fought hard. Just little things, me getting the snap. I think we had a false start. Just kind of little things that we're preaching over and over operationally that we got to clean up, and ultimately cost us probably the game. So.
Drake, much has been said about you only got one series last week. How much are you looking forward to breaking down at least 2 quarters of a game tape going forward?
Yeah, I think it's an awesome opportunity. I think definitely some things I can clean up. Had some good things, had some bad plays. I said the drop snaps, inexcusable for me. And other than that, probably just sometimes I feel like I'm scrambling when I can probably sit in there and hang on and try to make a throw. So definitely a lot of things to learn from. Good to get out there and, like you said, get some tape to learn from. But other than that, I thought the guys fought. I think we played hard. You can't, you can look at a lot of things, but one thing you can't question is our effort, and that it really starts it all.
Gerard had mentioned earlier this week that just between joint practice and this game, it could be good for building your confidence. I'm just wondering where your confidence is now after tonight.
Yeah, I think every time you get out there, I think you kind of get more and more confident. First off, it's always going to be the nerves, going out there, running out there the first time. But other than that, I think, the more reps, I think it's only going to help me. And at the end of the day, I'm just, fortunate to be able to get out there and get some reps and try to make the most of my opportunities.
Drake, how did this week feel compared to last week when you were out there?
Yeah, I think definitely the joint practice helped. I think being able to face the team in practice before you play them in a game is always a huge help, especially seeing different looks and hey, if they do this, you're thinking this, just kind of some really like answers to the test before you take the test. But I think some plays that helped us, and also sometimes you can kind of scheme up each other off of practice. But they're a good football team. I think they're a strong contender in the NFC, and I think it was a good chance for us to learn from it and look at the tape, and especially offensively, just clean up the little things operationally and make sure you run the right route, getting the snap. A lot of those things kind of they may not notice them from y'all, but they add up and can trickle down to in this league the margin of error.
Hey, Drake. On your touchdown, you're on the field with 5 other rookies from this class. Just wondering how special of a moment was that to be on the field with those guys, and what's it been like gelling with that group?
Yeah, it's an awesome moment. We always spend a lot of time in here in the rookie meetings. During the spring, it was just us, so it was definitely cool having those guys out there. I think one of the first things I did was I chest bumped JP, so just cool to be out there with some of the guys that are in the same spot, going through the same thing, and fun time for us. That moment I'll probably never forget.
Drake, there's a third down completion you had to Javon that I just wanted to ask you about. If you could just walk us through what you saw in that play. It looked like you came to it backside.
Yeah, not to get into too much defense. They rolled down a safety and took away the options, and I feel like coming backside, had an in cut that I think I missed in practice this week that I probably could have thrown. So, like I said, just learning from practice, try to translate it to the game.
Drake, we were talking with Jacoby, and he mentioned that after the touchdown, you got a bit excited and sort of lost track of the ball for the first touchdown. Did you end up finding out what happened to the ball from the touchdown run?
Yeah, my guy Dev and the equipment, shout out those guys. They got it and taped it up, so pretty cool deal.
Hi, Drake. One thing that's been talked about a lot tonight is your composure. I was just wondering if you could talk us through if that's always been a part of your game or how you feel that's kind of developed as you've kind of gotten into the NFL.
Yeah, I think our job as a quarterback not to get too rattled. Try to stay cool and calm and collected over there, and especially on the sideline. Sometimes I tend to throw my helmet or something. Little things like that can kind of go a long way with just kind of your guys and how they're feeling and kind of setting the tone. So try to stay cool, calm. I probably need to get a little more excited when good things happen. My parents always get on me, say I don't show enough emotion when good things happen. But at the same time, you can't just ride the highs and you can't get them down in the lows. So just trying to stay kind of even keel.
Drake, it looked like they were putting you in concepts that maybe you used in college. There was a lot of shotgun, empty, zone read stuff. How much did that help you get comfortable, and did you discuss that with AVP in terms of concepts that you're familiar with and comfortable with?
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about this offense with what AVP does. We do a lot of different things. We can spread it out in empty. We can get 12 personnel, 13 personnel run the football. So we do a lot of different things. We got keepers. We got kind of the whole 9 yards. So I think a lot of the stuff that kind of translates from college, other than getting in the huddle and using a cadence, it all translates. So I think that's a good point. And also we go through kind of a list of plays we like before we're going out there. We're not just going out there, just kind of not knowing what's going on. So we got a little bit of idea of it's third and medium. I think this call's coming. This is what I told him I liked. So. He does a great job of kind of understanding our feedback, from all 4 of us, and just kind of calling what we like. So that's an awesome kind of way for us to connect. Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one thing that just stood out to me was
I really like him. I know it's
I like
silly.
him too.
I just like him.
But I mean, the mistakes, the pre-snap stuff, the stuff that we talk about, that we hammer, it seemed clear to me that is on their mind and something that, he brought it up a few different times.
Hammering it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're hammering it. One of the things that he said that really stood out to me was kind of what we're talking about, like the preseason games sometimes don't offer the same kind of test, especially when you did the joint practices. There's a lot of stuff, and from talking to the guys during the broadcast, Brian mentioned this. There's a lot of stuff that they did on Tuesday that he saw the same exact thing today. And I would just add, those same things were executed by lesser players today.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a great sign, Fred. I think we might have talked about it before you came in. That the third down play that I really loved, the one that Evan asked him about in the postgame, the third down completion to Javon Baker, is an example of a play that Drake talked about yesterday in the production meeting, saying he had opportunities to hit that second read, the deeper, the in cut as opposed to the shorter route. And he didn't stick with it long enough, and he took the shorter one too often on Tuesday. So for him to recognize that on Tuesday, watch film, talk about it on Wednesday, and then correct it in the game on Thursday, I think is a great sign.
Can I ask you a question, Paul? Do you think that I'm sorry, Fred. You
Doors ajar.
Enchanté.
Doors open.
Doors ajar. I wouldn't say it's open. Ajar.
Tide is turning.
Okay.
Do you think that that's the kind of thing, though, as an NFL
That
veteran,
means something else to
when you face these defenses and these schemes over and over again, that, like as much as he's seeing directly the defense carrying it over 2 days later, do you think that it's, well, this is a Vic Fangio defense, and, 2 years from now, there's going to be things that I remember, you know what I mean? Are those, not things that aren't just carrying over from joint practices, but that's part of getting experience.
Absolutely.
And, we know quarterbacks that were here for a long time had such a encyclopedia of knowledge to draw from. So, I don't know. I think it's all part of the process. One thing I just want to mention, though, Doug Kyde, Boston Herald, just mentioning the Patriots defensive tackle Tristan Hill says he suffered an injury to his chest shoulder today. He's set to undergo some imaging to determine the severity. So just another injury maybe to highlight. Another guy.
Add 97 to the injury
97,
list.
a little bit, a bubble guy. We talked a little bit about him being kind of a potential Barmore replacement. But otherwise, guys, we're getting some of the schedule this weekend. I guess we're going to hear from Elliot Wolf, so we'll get to talk to him a little bit before one of these practices this weekend. Just for both of you guys, what are you kind of looking for here as we have this little interstitial period where we're going to have 3 periods? I think Sundays might be full pads, so we will get some more look at this team competing. Do you anticipate changes? Do you think there'll be some adjustments? Anything over these next few days you're curious to see?
I mean, to me, all eyes are on the line, offensive line.
Yeah.
And I think you'd like to start to see the players starting to fall in place. Like we didn't see Peppers, Duggar, Jonathan Jones. You like to see some of those guys. Hunter Henry, Jonathan Jones, Marcus Jones. Let's see if we can get them back in uniform and, integrated.
Yeah,
with their
Marcus
respective
Jones, a
groups.
big one. Maybe Marte Mapu.
another
Anything you'd
one.
like to ask Elliot Wolf? Anything off the top of your mind that you think that we haven't spoken with Elliot in a while? I don't remember. I mean, I think we had an off season, with him at some point. But
yeah, I mean, what's your urgency level with the offensive line? Do you anticipate moves? You keep talking about last year at this time. Bill recognized that was a problem, and he went out and tried to fix it.
Yeah,
it's hard to do it at that time of year. But
yeah,
I wonder if Elliot feels the same way.
Yeah.
I think people will probably maybe ask for more details on the Ayuk situation, the Judon situation. Just, can you tell us how that went down? Or, he won't answer it probably, but it will probably get asked. But yeah, I think, do you still have your eyes on who's out there? And he's going to say yes, of course. We're always looking to get better. And
I've got such a different sense. Like, I mean, just seeing Elliot Wolf, up in the press box briefly tonight, it's an interesting thing. I've realized that, you always just kind of look at the players and the head coach, but to be a personnel guy and to feel like I picked all the groceries and now you just kind of have to sit back and watch, like, what the coaches do with them. And you don't really have a lot of input and, you're almost powerless at this point, which has got to be a frustrating place. Or, you've, like you said, Fred, got a beat on a position that, like, and you're, like we said, in one of the joint practices where he was just standing behind the offensive line, staring at every rep that they took. It's just it's an interesting dynamic.
You will block.
Well, it's funny, like during training camp, before the scouts go out and do their thing and they're gone for like the whole college season, they all come out and it's almost like they're looking at their guys, like, because every guy that was drafted had a proponent, a guy that did the the in the weeds scouting and brought that name forward, and now I'm looking at the fruits of my labor, and they're probably hoping, I hope he does well because that's my guy.
Yeah, I mean, even I've noticed with some of this, especially with Polk and Baker, who were two guys like in the process that I watched, and that and to see then aspects of their game that do translate, or things that aren't quite like with Polk where you can see the jump in level, how it kind of affects his game a little bit, but he still has strong hands, and it's always interesting to see how it.
Did you guys talk about Polk making a couple guys miss early in the game?
Yeah, we did. We saw the highlight.
That was nice.
I mean, it was kind of his only
little waggle.
Yeah, his only
See a
moment.
little more than a little waggle.
Yeah.
On 5 yards per catch.
Yeah,
but-
his only real moment.
Wait, he would have had 1 yard if he hadn't had the waggle.
No, I know. I'm just saying that's like now 5 catches for 20 yards.
Yeah.
Something like 4 something like that.
He still
4
doesn't
catches for
seem
20
as
yards.
consistent as he's been. It was still 11, 3, and 2 out there to start, and I still feel like that's the top grouping. I mean, it signals to me. We got a question here about Taekwon. With Taekwon starting the past 2 weeks, do you think that makes him a roster lock? He just hasn't had a lot of opportunities in these games to make an impact due to starting, and it almost looks like they value him a lot higher than I would have thought coming into this season. I mean, I kind of agree. I don't know what they value, but I feel like they're going to give Taekwon a chance. I think that's what
I
direction it's
personally
pointing me.
would. I don't know that I would call him a lock, but
Yeah.
I just think that he offers something. Him and Rager, you got to figure out, are they too similar? I would keep them both. I think that they both can run, and they don't have enough of that.
Do you think Rager returning kicks helps him?
Yes. I think that's what just pushes Booty down to me. I think Booty can do a few things, but nothing like I think everybody has something better than Booty.
I just think Marcus Jones is so much better at it. I don't, if Rager can offer me something as a receiver, I keep him, and then it's fine. He can be the kick returner too. But if he can't, as a receiver, I'm not keeping a guy as a kick returner.
Yeah.
Not unless he's like Marcus Jones.
Yeah.
I think Marcus Jones is like Devin Hester. I've talked about this before. I think he's that dynamic as a returner.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think with Thornton and him, and you see how much of the wide zone, then you bootleg off of it, and you just have to imagine that they really want a guy with some speed to hit those bootlegs.
Even if it's not for big plays to those guys, but they clear out.
You got Wallace.
That's Wallace.
You know what? He's probably going to be right. He'll probably make the team just to stick it to me.
Pops out. We got us David Wallace right now. So we're coming down here to the end of it. We got, of course, the Patriots next week are going to take on the Washington Commanders. We'll get maybe a look at Jaden Daniels, perhaps. That might, I don't know what their situation is. I'm guessing that was.
I have no idea what to expect from these teams anymore.
Yeah.
I would have thought that we wouldn't see starters for the Patriots. I wouldn't think we'd see Brissett next week. But the way that Gerard spoke, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I think you could interpret that 2 different ways. Like, the only way you're going to get better at football is by playing football. Does that mean the starters need that to get ready? Or, what Fred and I hope, we got to get Drake May more reps.
Right. But it's like
ready.
David Andrews, you see how critical he is and what the drop-off is after him. But then you look at Vidarian Lowe, which we talked about, where if he is the only left tackle that they have, like, you kind of have to play him, but you also want to protect him because you don't have anybody else.
To all of a sudden see him pop back into the game.
Yep.
I think Wallace was on the right side.
Yep.
He went from, I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. And then, like, Calvin Anderson couldn't play left tackle. Like, he didn't really play until very late in the game.
That was what it signaled to me, Paulie, was that Wallace and Robinson are the only guys right now in the mix to potentially push any of that starting 5 that we've seen so much of. And, I wonder if they're waiting to see if Wallace can somehow play well enough at right tackle that they said, let's put Chooks back on the left side and, see how he does. If I knew, though, if you could give them true serum, how do you really feel about a core 4 on the left side? Because what if they're just like, no, it's not going to work over there. Like, we out of options.
I can't imagine that they think it's going to work over there and they're not putting him, playing him there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Not good. All right. Well, I think that's about going to do it for the Patriots post-game show, sponsored by DraftKings. Want to thank you guys for joining us. And next week, I think the game time is, I believe it's an 8 o'clocker, which will put the pregame show somewhere in the vicinity.
Oh, that's all the way it's Sunday.
A
A lot going on before.
A lot going on. So we got a practice coming up Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We'll have all our full reporting from those. I don't know, Fred. Are those open? I mean, are we?
Yeah, they are. They're fully open. Fully open the whole practice. Tuesday we'll have our normal show.
Back to normal.
Well,
show.
I guess 1:30 is when we've been doing.
Oh well, no practice Tuesday. Tuesday's an off day,
so we'll be
should
noon.
regular time.
Noon on Tuesday.
Noon on Tuesday,
Okay.
and we'll break everything down here from the weekend in those practices.
And then we'll have a normal show on Thursday.
And we'll have Matt Nosox join as well.
That might be at 1:30 on Thursday.
Right, with practice. We'll see.
Yeah.
New schedule coming out. We got a lot to juggle.
Yeah, we could actually. We'll talk about it.
Oh, okay.
We will indeed. Well, one
Program director Paul Perillo.
No, but I think you and I can start the show and they can come in whenever, one of those deals.
Okay.
Like, I don't think we need to have, like, we're not doing the same stuff for these practices that we would do for a training camp practice. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Again,
Okay.
we'll
All right.
probably talk about this off the air.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up, but thank everybody for joining us tonight. And the final score for the final time: Patriots 13. What is it?
If you're going to do it, you need to have it. Yeah, so much for
Eagles.
your flawless 2 weeks.
We played the
Eagles.
Eagles.
The Eagles 14.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.